Hey everyone, welcome back to another fun episode of the Fire Prevention Party. I am Battalion Chief Royd Henderson with the Hawaii Fire Department, and today we have a new guest, a very special guest, Mr. Aaron Moniz, our Fire Prevention Inspector 1. Give a round of applause, everyone. There you go.
Hello, everybody.
Oh, that was a go. Oh, that's applause right there. There you go. There you go.
Better than
Fantastic.
December.
Better than better than the guy who was in December. Yeah. Okay, so Aaron, it's February, and
Right.
obviously February has one special holiday, Valentine's Day. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. What are you gonna do for your wife?
I have no idea. She likes flowers delivered to her office, but
okay.
she doesn't typically do the roses deal,
Okay. Okay.
So it's a challenge to find the flower that she likes.
I like it.
No.
I like it. No, it's dope.
No.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
you find like a theme or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. So Valentine's Day is a big holiday, but in February, the holidays are done, and one of the things I think is always a topic out there and people ask us questions about is fires. So
Right.
specifically for us, fire investigations on houses, because we have people that unfortunately have an event at their house, something happens, a fire catches their house, unfortunately is affected by fire. And so I wanted to bring you on this month because we wanted to introduce you. You've been taking care of fires for a few months for us now. We're
Right.
going over things and doing reports and whatnot. And so why don't you introduce us just real quick, like the basics of a fire investigation and kind of what happens real quick, and then we'll kind of go on the following processes.
Okay. I guess for the most part, the most important part is helping the people that got affected, right? Bringing in Red Cross and so forth, just getting them shelter and food and water, because in these events, sometimes most of the time they lose everything. They just need support, and the support usually comes from the community or community partners such as the Red Cross. And they provide means to get these individuals back up and with the supplies that is necessary for us to live, I guess.
Kind of like get them moving forward, right? Like
Right,
the big thing
right.
is, yeah. Just to kind of go over, okay, for a fire investigation, what are we gonna do, right? So a lot of people think we're gonna show up and we have this massive CSI lab like you guys. Okay, firefighting is not like you see it on TV. Okay, I'm
No,
just throwing that
definitely
out there.
not.
I'm just
Definitely
throwing
not.
that out there right now. Okay, disclaimer. We do not have,
A forensic lab that
like
we can
nerds in
test all
glasses
this stuff.
calling us and telling us, I've tested this compound.
No,
That
it's
doesn't,
it's
it
quite
doesn't work like that,
yeah.
unfortunately.
So
a
an
little more
investigation is
complicated,
quite difficult in identifying what has caused the fire, because in our homes we have a lot of items, right?
Right.
Everything's plugged in, running on electricity.
Right.
Usually we have power strips
Mm-hmm.
plugged into power strips,
Which we advise against, by the way.
Yeah, please don't do
Yes.
that. Yeah, and then we have, all of our flammable materials,
Right.
papers and so forth,
Right.
strewed all over our house. And then now you have all the furnishings, like our furnitures and drapery and carpeting. That's all flammable items that's in our house. And, just one little spark, like
Yeah.
back in December, one little firework can
Right.
set this off. Same thing in the house. One miscalculated overcharged battery can
Right.
cause total destruction.
Right.
And pinpointing that in a home that is completely burnt is
Challenging.
very difficult.
Yeah, it's challenging.
So
Yeah, it's very challenging.
when we
yeah.
get called for a structure fire, we have our prevention one. It's a converted ambulance that we bring out, and it has a lot of the tools that we need to conduct our investigation. So we bring that out. It also helps other partners that we work with to kind of give them a little comfortable space where we can conduct whatever we conduct.
Right. Because we had one where we went to a structure fire recently, and while you and I were doing our thing, videos and photos and documenting the property,
Right.
we allowed the Red Cross to use the back of our mobile unit to take care of the homeowner that was living there. Right. So
yeah.
they could sit in the AC, sit at a table, and kind of do their thing.
Yeah.
Shout out to Captain Goo for setting us up with that, by
Yes.
the way.
Thank you, Captain Goo.
Thank you, Captain Goo. We bring out the unit, we do our investigation, right?
Right.
And try to, get things going. And so part of the process is we always want people to be aware is that the night we meet you or the day we meet you and we try to help you go through these things, that's just the beginning of kind of the journey through this thing, right? So,
Right.
if a fire happens at your house, what do we do, right? And how do we work through it? And so we even have some brochures that we give out at fires so that they can give you a little bit of information when you're ready. And the big part about it is everybody's always confused as to what to do afterwards, right? Because
Right.
you know what I mean? It's okay, this terrible event happened and my kids lost their stuff. My stuff is ruined.
It's a stressful situation.
Yeah.
Very
And
stressful.
then you don't know what to do afterwards, right? Which makes
Right.
it infinitely worse, I think, a lot of times. So, I mean, we've had instances where we've had to sit there and say, okay, call us back and we'll work you through this and help you with the insurance company and all that kind of stuff. So, that's all part of the process too. And really, with the fires, the interesting thing I always find is that it's a really tragic event.
It is.
And we always hope that nobody gets hurt.
Yeah. That's
So, kind of like a
best- one of
firefighter
the best
safety guys.
outcomes.
Yeah, it's like nobody gets hurt, right? And so it's kind of like when we give the mapping out to our firefighter safety guys, right? We want the kids to have a plan, right? So, I mean, we do fire investigations and we see houses where an entire hallway is blocked. Or, I mean, we can even talk about how, proper housekeeping helps us out and helps you out, stop the fire spread and people that have tons of stuff in their house. Because we've been to some fire. I mean, we've been to some crazy fires, right? Where, I mean, it looks like a storage unit in someone's living room.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
I mean, that kind of all goes hand in hand. You
Yeah.
have all these wiring going on,
Right.
charging stuff here and there, but all this huge fire load in the house,
Right.
and just, it gets pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Once it goes up.
Yeah. Because once one thing goes, the heat from that just catches the other thing and it just, and a lot of people have said too, that, people that have witnessed their own home being burned or whatever, they're, holy cow.
Yeah, how quick
was
it
so
just
fast.
spreads.
Oh, yeah. They're just, whoa, it's took over like that. I turned around and half the living room was on fire already. And so, keeping the house, good housekeeping practices,
Right.
working with the chargers. We had that in October, right? We talked about lithium ion battery safety and that kind of stuff. And so, even with house fires, kind of going back to it just to help the public out, I think a little bit is, after a fire and you have your insurance, unfortunately, it's a long process, right? I mean, it's not something that happens overnight. So some of the things that we talked about was having your insurance paperwork either backed up digitally online.
Okay, that's a good idea.
And have those things. Because the other thing is having a list of medications, all that stuff. Because for instance, I give you an example, right? We have our medical form that we give out, right? So hopefully we can get link posted to that. And so we have the medical form that has all your medications on it for fire when we show up. But when you leave your house, I mean, you kind of have to have information. So even like a thing like a go bag, right? They talk about that. Having a little go kit, or having a secondary place where you keep stuff would be really helpful.
Like a safety deposit box in the bank.
Or like, I don't know,
Or
my
maybe-
cousin's house or something. I leave a
Right.
little just envelope that says, hey, here's my insurance paperwork. Here's my, basic XYZ or whatever, leave it at your workplace in your drawer or something, just to have a second place. Because when we get to these fires, sometimes we say, oh, who's your insurance agent? Oh, I'm not sure. We got to go find out. And that delays the process significantly because not everybody is aware of who their insurance agent is, right? So,
Right.
those are things. I don't know, little tips that we can give, that help people.
I guess another tip would be like if you're renting also,
Mhm.
maybe get some renter's insurance.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we had an incident and they didn't have no insurance.
Right.
Now, no renter's insurance
Right.
and they lost a lot.
Right. Right. And it's really tough, right? I mean, you're renting a place, something happens, whether it's your fault or not. I mean, the event happened, right? And
Right.
so now what do? You don't have insurance.
Yeah, you don't own the home. Now, the homeowner might get help from his insurance company, right?
Right.
But you're left with nothing.
Right. So that's a big one. Just reaching out to family and friends. Like I said, giving out information is always positive, being fire safe. Some of the fires that we go to, I think some of them you cannot help and some of them you're you realize that people, if they were a little more careful with what they were doing,
Right.
cooking
Little
in weird places.
changes.
Yeah.
Making
yeah.
little changes in your day-to-day life.
For instance, like working smoke alarms, right? That
Right.
helps. Because
Changing
we
the
put that in our
battery.
report, just throwing that out there.
Yeah.
We have to document whether you had working smoke alarms or not. Or, if you had fire extinguishers in your home, those are important things I think would help out.
And that's easy to do,
Right.
Just test it once a month or something. Change the battery every year.
Yeah.
Simple, it takes about 5 minutes less.
Right. Just to be safe, right?
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
so thanks for coming on today.
Yeah, not a problem.
We
Thanks
could
for
probably talk
having
about
me.
this forever. Yeah,
Right.
it's fun to help people out. We're out there. We're the guys that come after the aftermath, right? After the fire, and we're the guys that are going to come and help you out. So we appreciate, like I said, as always, we appreciate everyone in the community always reaching out and helping us keep the community safe. All our community partners, my wonderful inspector here, and everybody at Naleo TV. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And thank you for another edition of the Fire Prevention Party.